Yo, what up, Street Talks? Eric Kim. All right, some quick turbo thoughts on how to creatively thrive. So, first and foremost, why is this important, etc. So, one of my critiques about just life in general nowadays is that people kind of get their kicks and joys out of lowering the self-esteem of others. So, for example, fashion, you know, comparisons, etc. It's really bad for the human soul, and this notion of a collective human thriving. So I'm all about the human individual. I'm about the thriving, and yeah, modern day society is all about killing your self-esteem and killing your ego. So for example, I don't think I've ever really met a truly self-confident person at all. Like for example, even my best friend Kanye West, right? Like, he was like so confident, and he's quite confident. So is Elon Musk, whatever, and Jay-Z. But ultimately, they're all insecure too. So for example, Kanye, I think he's only like 5'7", maybe he's 5'6", 5'6.5". I guess the good thing about Elon is he has enough quote Asperger's where he's just kind of having fun. He's like a big kid, so he probably has a pretty good self-esteem, but I think his health is poor, so that's one thing. But anyways, so even bodybuilders and guys at the gyms, all these dudes who are on the roids, whatever, none of them is self-confident because the reason why they want to take, human growth hormones, steroids, whatever. Even one person who I think is awesome and hilarious, but I think is kind of, my critique is probably Joe Rogan, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard hearsay that he does external testosterone injections or something, to even the playing field, right? So any dude who does any of this weird stuff, no self-esteem, no self-confidence, or maybe they're foolish, I don't know, but even bodybuilders, right? They're always trying to become this self-image, and like no bodybuilder is satisfied with how they look. And as bodybuilders get older, they're always bemoaning how they used to be so much bigger and now they're smaller, whatever. Even Jay Cutler, right? I see him in interviews talking about Ronnie Coleman and other guys. He's still super massive and jacked, but I'm sure he still misses the good old days when he was Mr. Olympia, Ronnie Coleman. And this is the thing that's interesting, is that it doesn't really matter your work ethic or how hard you work. If you do it in a foolish way, it's not admirable, and it's not good. So for example, Ronnie Coleman, who I find as one of the most funny and interesting bodybuilders of all time, right? Like, I love his phrase, like, lightweight baby, into my peanut, whoo. Like, I think that's hilarious, but certainly, and he's got a good personality, whatever, right? But certainly this guy juiced himself to the max, right? And now, like, I don't know how old is he, in 50s maybe? Mid-50s, whatever. Dude, he's like permanently disabled, and it doesn't matter that he wakes up still every day at 4 a.m. and works out, like, he has that workout. Like, it really doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter if he's get like 1,000 trillion surgeries or a quadrillion testosterone or steroid injections. Like, it doesn't matter, because his body at this point seems like it's like permanently disabled, and no matter how much money he has on earth, even he had $100 trillion, he would actually not be able to restore his body to proper health, is my opinion. But anyways, so, and this is the problem with, you know, maybe CrossFitters or powerlifter, bodybuilders, any fitness people, is that they always approach things, in my opinion, is in a foolish way to become more. But it's more about a competitional advantage comparing themselves with others rather than just finding pride and joy in themselves, right? And so hard work ethics is actually kind of a foolish thing. So, you know, typically in the States, and it's like, wow, he's so dedicated, he goes to the gym every single day, wakes up at 3:30 a.m. every day, no matter what, and works out, whatever. But if you're doing all these weird hormones and, you know, whatevers, it's not worth it, because it's just like you're gonna do permanent damage to your body, which is not wise. But anyways, so I think what we need to do first of all is augment and build our own self-confidence. What does that mean? It means to prefer yourself and your body above anything else, not to compare yourself with others, and also not to compare yourself with a past self, present self, or future self. Just like look at who you is right now and find joy and pride in who you are, right? And typically dissatisfaction is seen as a positive motivator. I think that is true, but like towards what ends, right? Like even Jay-Z, right? I'm never satisfied, can't knock my hustle, which is true. But once you're worth $10 billion, $100 billion, $1 trillion, $100 trillion, and you still want more, then I think at that point it's just a little bit foolish. Like then it becomes kind of a number game rather than a self-soul game. So what I think is actually more interesting is to seek I call it intermittent satisfaction, right? So for example, during the day I fast, I don't eat food, right? I've been doing this since 2017, so is that like 5 years now? And I don't do it out of this self-abnegation kind of thing where it's like, oh, in order to be more virtuous. No, I just do it for hugely pragmatic things, right? Like, you know, if I want to stay cut, muscular, whatever, that is the best modus operandi or the best approach for myself. And then when I break my fast in dinner time, I seek the maximally supreme meat item to replenish and refuel my body so I can sleep well, I'll wake up earlier, feel better, have more strength to take care of my son and stuff like that, and also have more energy and chutzpah and balls and, you know, mojo and juice to conquer the day, vlog more, blog more, come up with more turbo thoughts, whatever. So a practical thought is in terms of how to spend money, right? First of all, just get an iPad Pro, get the newest one. I think, you know, do you even need I mean, I typically buy the medium storage. You could probably get away with just buying the cheapest one, the smallest storage. Just get the new iPad Pro with the M2, and then just get the smallest storage. And what you do instead is, you know, on your Ricoh GR3, GR3X, whatever, just shoot extra small JPEG. And even on your other things, right? Like your GoPro Hero 10, 11, whatever you have, just shoot the smallest resolution possible, 1080p, 24 FPS. And then what you could do is, since the iPad Pro has a USB-C drive, you could just plug in a USB-C adapter, the one that has an SD card and a mini SD card reader, import all your stuff, and then you could directly upload your stuff to YouTube or your blog or your website directly from your iPad. And actually, I think I might be the first person to think this, right? Ditch your laptop, just get 2 iPads, not 1 iPad, but 2 iPads. That's like the ultimate flex, right? Imagine you're at a hipster coffee shop and you're just like double tasking like a boss on 2 iPads, an iPad Pro M2, the iPad Pro M1, and then you could just like put it together like a panini or a sandwich, and you could flex on all these other noobs. But anyways, the reason why the iPad Pro is so good is that it is really the most ultimate full stack computer creative device tool possible known to man. And what I find to be very misfortunate is, dude, Apple's marketing team, Apple's iPad marketing team, right? Shout out to all the iPad engineers and designers and the photos team. You've done an amazing job with it, but the marketing team is so anemic, right? So the problem is, what Apple is trying to do is they're trying to be kind of like politically correct and like more progressive and woke, which is good, right? But they don't understand their target demographic, which is like, you know, Asian American, tech nerds, device enthusiasts like me. Age range from, I don't know, 28 to mid 50s maybe, right? Like dudes who always want the newest and the best, and their aspiration is to become more creative and to creatively thrive. And actually I think the iPad is the goal, right? Like I'm currently recording this on the iPad Pro M1. The battery life on this thing is insane, right? And I'm doing the selfie ultra wide video mode just with the default iPad camera, and it works really good, right? And then I could just, when I'm back home, you know, connect to the Wi-Fi, and I can upload it straight to, you know, open up a Safari tab, youtube.com/upload, and I can upload it straight to my YouTube channel, like super fast and easy. Like, it's great, right? And also the 120 hertz, whatever, it's super smooth. It's super light. It allows me to walk more. So anything that allows you to walk more and go to see more of nature is kind of a good thing. Also, I'm planning on doing a creative photography workshop retreat here in Hadong, South Korea, where you could experience all this amazingness with me with super fast Wi-Fi in the beautiful mountains of Seoul, South Korea. Just Google Eric Kim blog or Eric Kim workshops or Eric Kim news, and subscribe to the Eric Kim newsletter to stay updated with that. I think it'll be a cool full stack experience. But anyways, so yeah, the goal is to become more creative. And truth be told, most of the photographers that I know, right, their passion is photography, not video. Like, video is kind of an aspirational thing, which is way too complicated, way too complex. And all the dudes who do video, they're essentially the photographers 2.0, where they try to make things like so cinematic and beautiful and, you know, I don't know, ProRes, I don't know, raw video and all this nonsense. And you got to buy like, you know, $100,000 worth of computer equipment to process it. And then you got to buy like 20 hard drives to store the footage. So I think that's kind of a sucker's game, honestly. And the thing that I find quite shameful I watch a little bit of the iPad marketing video film for the new M2. It's like so boring, right? Like, you see a dude with a gimbal holding thing. First of all, ain't nobody gonna shoot a film on their iPad. That's quite nonsensical. They're gonna use, you know, either a Sony camera, probably a Lumix Panasonic camera or something like that instead. And ain't nobody gonna use, you know, freaking Apple files or iCloud files. Nobody use that, you know. Be honest, it's gonna be Dropbox, or they're just gonna airdrop it to their laptop or their desktop or something else instead. And so what I think instead is Apple should pivot their marketing and make it just like, how can you thrive more as a photographer? And like, you know, I like to do photos and videos, right? But ultimately, I consider photography to be better than video, because Video's too slow, it takes too much cumbersome, and nobody got time to edit, stuff like that. Photos are the most direct, fun, easy, fast way to do things. Even shout out to the Apple Photos team to introduce the new photographic styles. The other day, my Ricoh GR3X was having memory card issues, so I couldn't take no photos. So instead, what I did was I opened up my iPhone SE, the camera app, right? I put it to the, rich monochrome, noir monochrome mode, whatever. And actually the cool thing is you turn on the photographic styles, you can turn on the rich contrast to 100, and actually the black and white stuff looks really good. And then if you open up in Apple Photos later, you could juice up the contrast even more, and you actually get a really good look. I think that should be promoted more. Like, it even made me consider, like, once my Ricoh GR3X dies, just getting the newest iPhone Pro and just using everything with the default built-in iPhone Camera Pro, the camera app, and then just turning on the photographic styles, rich contrast to 100%, turn on the noir mode, and in the settings of the camera, lock in the creative controls. It might be a good full stack solution. But anyways, yeah, I think Apple should totally hire Eric Kim to promote the photo material. And even nowadays, right? Like, if we be really, really honest, right? Like, think about your mom, right? Or your dad, who's like not super, super good with technology, right? The way they're going to approach things is, they take photos and videos and share with friends and family, but then it's for them still the photos, which is the great thing. Even the live photos, super great innovation. Shout out to my friend HP. You know who you is. And yeah, and I think even shout out to my friend Anthony, right? Who, his passion is photography, travel, stuff like that. He's dabbled both in photo and video, but ultimately it's photo, which is kind of the killer thing. So I think there's a good, very rich, ripe future for us as photographers. Video is just kind of the shiny, right? So other things I find very shameful about the marketing material, video film of the iPad Pro. Like, okay, Apple, you spend so much time building up your Photos app, which is super stellar, and also iMovie, which I consider amazing. Why don't you just introduce, build a Final Cut Pro for the iPad instead of having to do, commercials and marketing materials with LumaFusion, which is a third-party app. I think it's always a bad idea whenever any corporation uses a third-party app in their marketing materials. It's a sign that their own apps, native apps, and ecosystem is weak. Similarly speaking, very bad idea, Google, if your employees are using iPhone Pros instead of using the newest Google Pixel, the newest Google Pixel Pro. Probably not a good idea. A simple idea I have for the Google Pixel, whatever team is, like, the greatest game changer, because at this point it looks like Gmail is still better than Apple Mail in terms of just overall deliverability and syncing, whatever. There should be like this pro feature in the Google Pixel or the Pixel Pro or the, or even just Android, right? Is that you could have additional premium Gmail features which are not possible with the Apple variant. So a very simple one, right? So I don't know about you, but and then this is also the same thing too. Like, ain't nobody I know in Silicon Valley, etc., likes email, but it seems to be the least bad. It's kind of like the most open way to communicate with people, which I get. So people have a really bad addiction with email in their inboxes. So a simple suggestion, right? Like, let's say you get a new Google Pixel phone. Give users the options to turn off hide inbox by default. There's there's a pretty good Gmail plugin called Inbox When Ready, where when you open up your Gmail, by default it's empty. And then in order to view your inbox, you have to click the button, and then it shows you your inbox, which is good because most people I know who check their email like a quadrillion times a day, they're kind of like drug users where you just kind of mindlessly refresh it and like for no good reason because you just kind of been, programmed to, just like, a dopamine Pez dispenser. Also another critique of social media, Facebook, Instagram, even Twitter, etc., is essentially your serotonin drug dealers, where you hijack people and their social networks to feed their dopamine fix, and you serve advertisements in between it. Seems to be kind of a unsavory way to approach things. A simple way to do it is, I would suggest Facebook to create like a Facebook premium or even an Instagram premium feature where, tech users like myself who has, 2 Lamborghinis in the bank, right? Who have like $500,000 in savings, whatever, could use Facebook, right? I think all things considered, Facebook is a net positive for society. I think Instagram is probably a net negative for society, is just my opinion. And let's not forget that Facebook owns Instagram, right? So imagine if you had a Facebook Pro or Facebook Zen, call it Facebook Zen mode, where you pay, $9.99 a month, like a Spotify subscription. And by default, you have the power to turn off notifications and turn off the newsfeed. Like that would be a huge game changer. And I think it would actually be much more profitable for Facebook in the long run, because not a good sign when Facebook app has only 2.3 rating out of 5. That's quite poor. Not a good idea. But anyways, taking it back to Apple iPad. So yeah, I would just suggest, just getting iPad Pro, $800. I mean, it's not super cheap, but I mean, if you're a photographer and you're dropping like over $5,000 on camera gear, it's pretty nominal. And also, if I had a suggestion, don't get an iPhone Pro. Just stick with the iPhone or the phone you already have. If you're gonna get an iPhone SE. So starts at $430. That's the one I have. Even though I could afford like a trillion iPhones. And by default, just keep your iPhone off. Just keep it charging in a drawer somewhere, and instead go off the grid and use your iPad Pro to do things instead. And then think about it too, like from an economic perspective, right? The new iPad Pro, it's like $800. The new iPhone Pro, cheapest one, is $1,000. So it's $200 cheaper. The iPad Pro will probably make you 100 times more creative and innovative. It's like still a bajillion times better for viewing your photos, and using the built-in Photos app is amazing. It's, once again, at this point, I have zero interest in ever using Adobe Lightroom or Photoshop anymore. I think the Procreate on the iPad is, essentially the Photoshop killer, at least for us, kind of more rudimentary creative people. If you're like a super super professional doing like extreme like commercials and the marketing materials, then it does seem to make sense to have a Adobe subscription. And actually it's so funny too, because like people's like so critical of Apple Adobe's subscription model. I think it's super cool. I think it's super smart. The biggest thing is just kind of make it cheaper or free for students who are very poor. But anyways, or even the option, I think a good idea for Adobe Lightroom is, offer a version of Lightroom that's, $299. But once you buy it once, you could use it for at least 5 or 6 years without paying the monthly subscription. Anyways, so yeah, get the iPad Pro. Use iWriter. I use iWriter and Markdown to type plain text my stuff. Use the built-in Photos app. I think it's superior and faster than Adobe Lightroom. It's so funny too, because it's like, it's like if you're a photographer, right, and you're meeting other basic photographers, a lot of the hilarious irony is actually it's beginner / intermediate photographers, or like intermediate advanced photographers who are all into like, raw and equipment, gear stuff. But actually, it's the really, really advanced and elite photographers who, like Steve McCurry shoots on his Nikon D8 something in P mode, program mode, and he just has like a random zoom lens. And he just shoots JPEG, right? So the more advanced you become, the simpler your process is. Like I could almost imagine like a samurai Bushido master, right? Like you don't need to know 1,000 fancy looking maneuvers, you just need to know how to kill the guy, right? So yeah, that's actually the funny thing, is that the most advanced successful people in a given field tend to adopt the most simple approach possible. And once again, it's not like as simple is like kind of for the sake of like aesthetics. It's just more simplicity tends to be the most supreme option, where you've consolidated your knowledge and wisdoms to better augment your impact in the world. Even the genius of Steve Jobs, was it Kanye, right? Like to just choose a simple basic outfit. My new basic outfit is just topless, Vibram 5-finger short shorts, and just kind of walking around blogging or vlogging on my iPad. So yeah, just buy a new iPad Pro, the M2, just buy it, not a big deal. And simple suggestions, start recording videos on it, experiment with 4K, smaller resolutions. I'm just doing this, I think this is like HD mode, the default ultra wide mode. I'm just doing this in the selfie view, and I'm just holding my iPad in right hand. Don't buy that stupid pencil, which is a stylus, and the stupid keyboard, because you're just kind of killing Steve Jobs' vision. I mean, if we really were Apple fanboys and Steve Jobs fanboys, just read the Walter Isaacson book, where Steve Jobs hated netbooks, and it's like, netbooks are stupid, and then it's like, styluses are stupid. And then once, boom, Steve Jobs dies, then Apple's like so sneaky, right? They made a mini iPad, then they made a big iPad, they put in the pencil, which is a stylus, the Apple stylus, which I call it. They added a keyboard. I'm like, why are you trying to make the iPad into a laptop? Just have the people buy a laptop. You should make the iPad this beautiful piece of glass that doesn't require so like anyone whoever I see who has an iPad Pro with the keyboard with the trackpad, I'm like, you think you're being innovative, but in actuality you're becoming more backwards and basic. We need to supersede the notion of the traditional laptop and computer. Like even innovations I've discovered is the built-in Apple voice dictation keyboard thing is insanely good. The only reason why I think that people wouldn't want to use it or in public is they'll just like look stupid. But then again, that's just like people having low self-esteem. That's not a good idea. You should be like, okay, the people I find the most inspiration from are the mainland Chinese, who have zero shame about anything, that they just talking super loud in public, spitting in public, peeing in public, making a hubbub. And I think the reason why people disdain the rich mainland Chinese so much is that they kind of low-key wish that they were them and get away with doing all this shit, right? But it's kind of their inner shame that holds them back. And also this the critique I have about Confucianism, Neo-Confucianism, which is New Confucianism, and then also the Koreans all follow Confucianism, still kind of like quasi-religiously, even though now South Korea is mostly a Protestant, Christian, Catholic country. Is that it's like, do you not remember that Confucius was not Korean? He was Chinese. And also the sayings of Confucius and the Analects afterwards, right? They're kind of mostly compiled by his followers. They actually weren't by Confucius himself. And even if you read the Wikipedia for Confucius, like he was kind of like a low-level officer. He had some good ideas, but it feels like it's mostly anemic. He just whatever. And then it's like Mencius and these other Chinese scholar philosophers who consolidated Confucius's teachings and turned it into like a state form of control / quasi-religion. Like Koreans will never ever question Confucian ethics, but surely but slowly, since the new generation's coming in and American culture is like taking over South Korea. Even Confucianism, Neo-Confucianism was passed. Like even simple things I see in my own lifetime, like Chuseok, which is like the Korean Thanksgiving. It used to be such a huge deal, but now Koreans, it's like, treat it like a minor holiday. They don't really do anything. Anyways, so just question everything. De-shamify yourself. Allow yourself to walk around topless and just kind of fuck around with it and just have fun with it.